Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a viewer replay, and this is, well, it's either putosousa USA or putosousa. And I'm just going to go with that because, you know, I like to imagine that he's a really big John Philip Sousa fan. Yeah. Now this is the D.W.2, widely regarded as being one of the worst tanks at tier 4. And that actually made me a little bit happy when this came in, because no longer was the AMX40 the sole holder of that title. Alas, there was something else that was in really strong contention. Why it's bad? Well, it has a not particularly great 5cm gun. It's the same gun that the Panzer III can mount, except that's a hell of a lot faster. This has not particularly great armour. It's 50, but it's 50 all the way around, and so you can at least side scrape, and if you angle, it's not awful, but you can still meet a lot of tanks, even at your own tier, even with matchmaking like this, that will pen you anyway. So, yeah, it's slow and it has a bad gun, basically, and the armour isn't even as good as the AMX40. And hell, it doesn't have the looks, so that's the most important thing. Now, having compared it to the Panzer III, actually, the Panzer III gets better frontal armour than this, and it's a medium tank, and yeah, it's just all round. The Panzer IIIs are actually quite a nice little tier 4, this not so much. Now you can see how much this armour is worth. I mean, that M5A1 Stuart's got pretty baller matchmaking there, but even so, he's died, but it's been at the cost of half of Sousa's health. So that's not so good. He's already down 50% or more of his hit points. And when there's artillery in play, when there's a bunch of tank destroyers in play, there's a T-28, there's plenty of guns in this game that can hurt him. That might be problematic. Now this was, according to him, at least in the chat, I don't think he said anything in his email, but he actually sent me 2 replays, and this, I think, was his very first game in this machine. I'm pretty sure he spent free XP on getting all the modules, because at low tiers, the modules aren't expensive. So, he's angling really well here. That's 2 of those tank destroyer platoon, so he gets some damage into them. They don't have a lot of armour. I mean, it's a fast-firing gun at least. The DPM's not bad. The premium ammo is actually pretty OP. It gets 130, and that's one of the reasons why the Panzer III is, in my opinion, one of the very, very few tier 4s that upscales, because it gets very, very good premium ammo for its tier. But that means when you're top tier, you could just spam the premium ammo and just be an absolute dick to everybody else if you wanted to. And there's always that problem with World of Tanks, that if tanks have the ammo to cope with seeing higher tiers particularly well, it tends to mean when they're top tier that they're maybe a bit too well gunned, but I don't think that's the case for this machine. It's not great in really every other regard. There's one good thing about this, by the way. This and the Char B1, the French tier 4 heavy, both have the matchmaking that everybody else should, by any, reasonable right, have. They both only get +1. These are the only regular vehicles in the game that get +1 matchmaking. It would be nice if more did, but it's a measure of how Wargaming regards these, that, yeah, it has to give them +1 matchmaking. They have premium matchmaking in their regular vehicles, but everybody should have this matchmaking though. I mean, even if it wasn't everybody, it should at least be up to tier 4, if not tier 5. And honestly, I think it's just, yeah, it's just the low tier matchmaking, the low tier balance in this game is balked in a number of ways, and I've talked about this in the past, but you get machines like this that just exemplify it. And even for this matchmaking, the balance of these machines is still pretty terrible. You still have to rely on having a fair amount of premium ammo, and he actually doesn't in this one, maybe because it is his first game, but even for seeing things like KV-1s, I mean, you don't have the speed of the Panzer III, you can't flank. That's the only reason that this gun works on the Panzer IIIs, you can get around people. But this can't, it doesn't have the speed. And in fact, in theory, it moves a bit better than the Char B1 does, but honestly, I think the B1 is, although in theory this has better traverse and a better top speed, I think the B1 is just better. But it's still not great, not by any means. Now, of course, if you're lucky enough to own the Panzer B2, the premium version, that gets tier 4 only matchmaking, and that basically has this gun, so yeah, it's not like this wouldn't work with top tier only matchmaking. And in fact, honestly, this and the regular B1 should probably just have top tier matchmaking always, but Wargaming not quite that generous. So the shooting is a almost an on point there, but what would be the opposite of that? Off point? The shooting's a bit off point. Yeah, that's you can say that, right? He's also not got a lot of health left at this stage, but the only enemies left don't have particularly great guns. Artillery's probably the biggest threat, followed by the Type 91 if he's got his top gun. The Panzer S-35, you'd probably have to be firing premium. The Panzer 1C, even with premium, would struggle with this armour. Some of the lower tiers do struggle with that 50mm of all-round armour, and if you're in a position to side-scrape, then fine. Although, if they've got enough pen that they could pen your 50mm, of course they can just punch through the turret. Now the S-35, fortunately for him, was quite low health, so that was an easy one-shot. However, he's in the open, and there's still artillery in play. The Toldy, by the way, might also be a threat. I'm not actually sure offhand what kind of penetration the Toldy gun has. I think it's a 47mm, and if it's a German 47mm, then actually it's quite possibly sufficient. Well, like I say, I couldn't say offhand at all. So he's now alone. He's got 5 kills and not a lot of health. So it's not looking great. His options are limited, severely limited in fact, mostly by the speed of this thing. He can try and go for the enemy base, but because there's multiple enemies left, if several tanks go on the cap, that's it, he's done for, he can't get back in time. So he really only has one option, and that's to defend. He also maybe got spotted by something there, because that was an artillery shell. Doesn't have 6th sense, I'm guessing he just started off a 75% crew in this, or maybe he was really flush and used gold to get 100% crew, but either way, he's not going to have 6th sense. You wouldn't repurpose a higher tier German heavy crew to stick in your tier 4. I mean, I've never played this thing, by the way. I should maybe point that out. This was a relatively late addition to the German tech tree. So, for a long time, the highest, or rather the lowest tier German heavy came in at tier 6. And in fact, you go back far enough, and the lowest tier German heavy was at tier 7. So it's only relatively recently that we have German heavies going all the way down to tier 4, just like the French. And that means in order to play this, I would have to deliberately buy it just to see what it's like. There's no point to me actually. I could buy it to ace it or whatever, but much like with the B1, I've never gone back down that far the German tech tree. There's a couple I hung onto from the low tiers, the Panzer III being one of them, but to go back and buy a machine like this, no, I don't think I would somehow. So the Toldy has turned up, and well, this is not the most accurate gun. It's actually not bad for tier 4, but his shooting hasn't been the best in this game. But at low tiers, things are a bit derpy generally, and he's got plenty of ammo. Ammunition is at least not a concern with this machine. You have more than enough to spare. What he doesn't have to spare, though, is hit points. If he goes out, artillery is a serious risk. And the fact that the Toldy's not pushing right now, well, maybe that means he's waiting for reinforcements. Maybe. And that would actually be quite smart for tier 3, or for a tier 4 game. And of course, having said for a tier 4 game, of course, you have no idea without using XVM how many battles any of these people have played. This could be a very experienced player in the Toldy. And it's a low tier premium tank, in fact, it was a gift tank. So it could well be somebody that's stuck a much better, higher tier German light crew in it. And, is just trying it out. But what he does is he waits for the Type 91 to show up, and then they come at this, at Sousa from different directions, which is really smart. That's actually some quite tactical gameplay for a tier 4 match. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't really work out. And the Type 91 does get one penning hit, which takes Sousa down to Not a lot of health at this point. He's 10 health. Well, I can't remember offhand what caliber that gun is. It's either 37, 40 or 47 mil. But it's not particularly big, but even that kind of caliber HE, maybe that would be enough to take off his last 10 health. But as it is, the rest all just bounce. And he wasn't firing any premium, so that's it. He's killed all the enemies. Now at this point we're going to have a little musical interlude in celebration of, you know, the fact that obviously he's a fan of John Philip Sousa, obviously. I'm also going to speed things up a bit because, you know, this thing is not very fast. And there we are. He's won by capping. Artillery did try a couple of blind shots into the cap circle, but it didn't do anything. So no 8 kills, unfortunately, but still the results were pretty impressive. Ace Tanker, Kolobanov's Medal, Spartan, Cool-Headed, Steel Wall, Invader, Top Gun, and High Caliber. Not bad. Not bad at all. Still a terrible tank, mind, and he did get quite lucky there, and that's... You know, that tactic of coming at him from different directions, that almost worked. Almost. And it was really only the angling of the armour and maybe the poorness of the aim of those enemies that let him get away with it. But still, nearly 1,500 damage done, 1,100 damage bounced. That's a respectable result for what is not a particularly good machine. And I suspect if he wants every battle to be like this, he's probably going to end up being a bit disappointed, but hey, it's nice to have a great battle in a really terrible tank once in a while. It kind of livens up the whole experience, and it feels a bit more special because of it. You know, if nothing else, it would be nice, obviously, if a lot of these low tier machines were way better balanced, but it is sort of somehow extra special when you do manage to squeeze a great game out of a really bad machine. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and if you have, you can leave any comments below. You can hit the like button, you can sub to my channel if you aren't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.